Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. The topic is Chatbots for PeopleSoft. My name is Arvind Rajan. I'm co-founder and Chief Technology Officer at Astute Business Solutions. I'll be presenting today's webinar along with Supriya Prabhakara, who is our product lead for PeopleSoft Chatbots. Welcome again, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know some of you are even dialing in or connecting to our webinar today from international locations. So thank you all for your interest in this topic and for taking time out of your busy schedules to participate in today's discussion. So let's get started. Some housekeeping tips. Please mute all of your phones. The WebEx should automatically mute you on entry, but in the past I've found that sometimes that fails. So for the interest of the other participants, please keep your phones on mute. You will be able to correspond with us through the WebEx chat feature. If you have questions or concerns about audio, video, etc., please use that, and somebody from the Astute team will respond to you with your queries. A recording of the webinar will be posted, and a link to that will be sent to all webinar registrants early next week. So please stay tuned for that. For your colleagues who may not be able to join today, or for those of you who registered but could not join for various reasons, that recording link will be helpful. And then you can contact us through our website, and our contact details will be made available at the end of today's presentation in case you'd like further discussions or a one-on-one demo for anything that we are describing today. A safe harbor statement. So we're going to demonstrate a product built by Astute Business Solutions in addition to having a conversation about PeopleSoft chatbots and how they can be built on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure platform services such as Oracle Digital Assistant. So standard safe harbor statement saying that what you're seeing today is a product, is a definitive commitment of feature functionality, and you know how that goes. So here's our agenda for today. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you about who we are, what our background is in PeopleSoft, in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, in Oracle Chatbots and Digital Assistants. Then we'll talk about why chatbots are so prevalent and why everybody's excited about this. We have about 130 people registered for today's webinar, so that in itself is an indication that this is a hot topic, and customers, although you may all be at various stages of reviewing and adopting this technology, there's generally a very high level of interest and, as a result, demand for this topic. So let's talk about what chatbots mean, what their value proposition is, and what are some of the industry trends, as in what are the experts saying, what are they predicting for the future of chatbots. In this context, we'll also cover what are some of the business benefits of chatbot and how customers can take advantage of that. Once we have discussed those, we'll move on to something very specific to today's audience. Majority of you who've signed are PeopleSoft customers. I know there's some folks from Oracle as well today. So we'll talk about what use cases are most important from what we've seen in our conversations with customers for PeopleSoft bots. Then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about bots like procurement bot, employee bot, and student bot, just to outline the use case and give you a simple graphical representation of how these bots can function. Then we'll proceed to a demo. This is going to be Astute's product. We're calling it Guru, and it is aimed at the education industry. We have some others in development for financial services, healthcare, retail, nonprofit, etc. But this is the one we're going to demo today, and we'll talk about the architecture, how the product works, and what are some of the features and functions it has built in. Then we'll spend the last few minutes talking about how you as a customer can get started on chatbots. What are the tools and technologies you would need? What are some pre-built solutions you can take advantage of? How you can get this solution up and running in a matter of days to get started. Then we'll try to leave sufficient time for Q&A. If you're not able to answer all of your questions in today's webinar, we'll make a note of those. We'll provide written answers along with the webinar recording link when the session is over. So let's get started. We thought it might be interesting for the audience to know what level of interest the audience as a whole has in chatbots, and specifically chatbots for PeopleSoft, given that most of you are PeopleSoft customers. So we took the results of the registration form details that you shared with us, and thank you again for filling out that detail. And we did some simple analysis on that. And what we found is, by the numbers, in terms of areas of interest or use cases for chatbots, here's what you are all looking at. Employee self-service is an important aspect, as we expected, because is such a large footprint in the install base. The next highest was requisition management and manager self-service, so tied at 19.5%. Supplier management and supplier request was also very high, and again, not surprised because there's a high volume of transactions we see in customer applications for that. And then student self-service and absence requests, also some decent numbers, but not as high as some of the others. We also dissected the data based on top chatbots that you were interested in seeing by applicant. So again, no surprises here, but what surprised us a little bit was that there was a slightly higher amount of interest in chatbots for financials and supply chain than HR, and a healthy number for PeopleSoft solutions. So hopefully that gives you a sense of what other customers are thinking about. This validates a lot of the things that we've been working on and the bots that we've been developing for PeopleSoft applications and for other third-party applications. So let's get into Astute Business Solutions. I'll give you a brief overview of our company. So we are based in Pleasanton, California, and our mission statement is to help customers transform their businesses by taking advantage of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And some of the outcomes that we want to produce are improved performance, better security, reduced TCO, and greater return on investment. Talk about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Everything that we are going to continue talking about in the rest of the webinar today is based on, or the solution is based on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure platforms that include Oracle Digital Assistant, Oracle Mobile Cloud, Oracle Integration Cloud, Identity Cloud, and so on. So I think it's a very robust platform. We have successfully migrated over 25 customers from on-prem or hosted locations to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI, as it's generally known. And they are using not just basic infrastructure services, but many of our customers are extending into several platform services as well. And we'll dig further into that as we go into the presentation. So based in Pleasanton, formed by ex-PeopleSoft employees, I'm one of them. Our presence is in California, in Texas, Canada, India. We are a Oracle Gold partner for the on-prem business, a Cloud Select partner for the OCI business. We are also Oracle Velocity certified and an Oracle MSP partner. So the last two, some of you may not be familiar with, so I'll just spend a minute explaining that. Velocity gives us the ability to collaborate with Oracle and funding for certain types of projects, to do POCs, trials, etc., to help you prove out these solutions and then build a longer-term solution based on successes. An Oracle MSP partnership allows us to give you a complete end-to-end solution on Astute paper or Astute contract, where cloud, the managed services, the migration services, integration services, all of that is bundled in as one solution, and you don't have to go to multiple places to buy that. Industry-wise, we've focused on some of these core industries. This is not a comprehensive list, but these are some of the top industries that we've worked with, both in the on-premise world and also in the cloud world. So financial services, education, health, nonprofit, retail, and so on. These also happen to be industries where PeopleSoft has historically had a strong presence. We have that are certified and specialized at Astute Business Solutions on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure platform and infrastructure services, and that speaks to our depth of understanding and experience in those areas. And then we are also focused as an ISV partner to Oracle in building solutions like the one we're going to demonstrate today and making them available with our IP in the OCI marketplace for customers to consume online. About our cloud services and solutions. So from helping customers in the very early stages understand what their cloud strategy should be, what the roadmap would look like, how they should go about picking the right solution, how to size it, how to prove out these use cases. That's all part of our advisory services. Those lead into migration services, focus on lifting and shifting PeopleSoft applications, or you may hear the phrase move and improve mentioned in that context. But this is how we can take your production, non-production, DR, and related workloads for PeopleSoft applications from your current location, improve them by putting them on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And when I talk about improvement, I mean more automation, improved security, better encryption, better performance, better monitoring tools, and a whole list of other things that you can get with OCI. Chatbots is a big focus area for us, not only because we have implemented this and can implement various solutions, but we are also focused on bringing pre-built solutions to the market for PeopleSoft applications. Autonomous Cloud is very high in terms of interest and direction at Oracle. We are focused on that as well. We are autonomous certified, and we are working on helping customers take advantage of autonomous data warehouse for analytics workloads and autonomous transaction processing for other Oracle databases that can run better with ATP on cloud. And then finally, managed services. Once we move these workloads to cloud, we offer end-to-end run and maintain services to take care of those application workloads for you on cloud infrastructure. A little bit about our background and our DNA, which is all in PeopleSoft, and from there we've expanded into other applications like EBS and JD Edwards and even Agile. But many of you are PeopleSoft customers today, so I thought this might be relevant. Our experience in PeopleSoft is very deep, and we have some of the largest brand name companies in the world working with us, from Fortune 100 companies to global companies. And these are some of the reasons why. These are our areas of specialty. I want to call out one specific couple of things here. TTF automated testing, a product called FastTest, which is a validated integration solution from PeopleSoft, natively integrated into PeopleTools. And this is available. It's one of the leading solutions in the market for customers looking to take advantage of PeopleSoft test framework to improve or build automated regression testing for PeopleSoft applications. Taking advantage of cloud infrastructure for things like upgrades, implementation, sandbox environments, performance testing. That's also something that we have built a lot of experience and expertise in. So let's get to the meat of today's conversation. Let's talk about chatbots. What are chatbots? So the word chatbot is derived from the phrase chat robot, and when you condense that and combine it with chatbot, it basically simulates human conversation. And now we find these sorts of bots employed in call centers, in automated systems. If you call your airline, call your hotel, most often you're dealing with a bot. You're also dealing with bots online, on websites, on retail websites, and so on. And the idea is that you use a bot to replicate or simulate a human conversation, and it is not a one-sided conversation. You go back and forth. You can ask a number of different questions. And the system will look at your question, it will process a response, compose a reply, and send it to you, and you can then continue to have that conversation. It is more interactive as compared to a website with a static FAQ or a self-service application where you have a limited set of features that you can work with. So this is the direction that a lot of customers are taking. And it can also be powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning. And what that means in layman's terms is that as and when you continue to deploy and use these chatbots, the more interactions it has with end users, the more it has the ability to learn, process that, better by adding more skills, improving its responses. So one of the advantages that we will call out later in today's presentation is with the Oracle Digital Assistant platform on which we can build chatbots, is it has the ability to monitor every interaction and learn from that. So you can understand what sorts of questions are asked, how often, in what format, what are the different utterances or variations in which the same question can be asked. And a chatbot has the ability to learn through that process, improve its service. So it's becoming extremely popular for these reasons, that it can provide improved customer communication, resulting in better customer satisfaction. It can reduce call volumes, which means that commonly asked questions, where is my shipment, where do I go to find this information, where is this department located, when is my, what is my class time, when is the next payroll check going to be available, when am I getting paid for my invoice, all of these questions that you may be handling through online FAQ or self-service portals or phone calls. The chatbot can serve this up more intelligently, and they can reduce call volume, they can reduce human effort, and eventually cost. It can also be used to automate repetitive tasks, so things that you want people to serve up in terms of information very easily, but they ask over and over again. I mean, you have 50,000 employees, for example, and all of them may have the same question about open enrollment or about benefits. And chatbots are extremely useful and proven in those use cases to provide better responses and also automate that experience. It's device independent in the sense that it can be accessed from a mobile phone, from a desktop, a tablet. It can be served up through multiple channels, which we'll talk about in slides. And in general, it has an enhanced user experience. So what do we mean by enhanced user experience? The experience of a chatbot is very contextual, as in when you start a particular topic of conversation, the chatbot can relate to that topic and not be topic agnostic. So it can be very contextual, which means it can understand your context, your login, your details, your prior history, your shopping history, for example, if you want that, your requisition history, and it can relate to all of that and make it very contextual. So from that standpoint, it's going to be an enhanced user experience. And some of the basics that you will see in our demo today is it will recognize you as an individual when you're talking to the chatbot, and it can personalize the experience for you. And lastly, but also importantly, it's available 24/7. So unlike staffing or manning a help desk with people around the clock to work in different shifts, a chatbot is an automated solution and can serve up the types of services in an automated manner 24/7 through multiple channels online. So here's some information that I found, which I thought might be helpful to set the context and explain to today's audience why chatbots are so important. And this is a blog post. If you see the bottom left of your screen, that's the source of this information. But this blog is basically a compilation of quotes and statistics gathered from different sources. So let's first talk with what Oracle is predicting. 80% of businesses want chatbots by 2020. What we can tell you from our experience in dealing with Oracle customers is that each and every customer that we have had a conversation with about chatbot has expressed a very high degree of interest in implementing it in some shape or form. For some, they just want to get started with FAQs. We have some customers who have 50 to 100 FAQ documents on their website, and chatbots are great to get started in that way, automate FAQ responses, improve FAQ responses. Others are looking at chatbots for specific applications like PeopleSoft. Business intelligence bots. So Gartner is predicting that by 2020, natural language generation and AI will be a feature of 90% of modern BI platforms. Again, in the context of enterprise applications, what companies are doing is, if you look at Oracle SaaS platform now, they are working on incorporating Oracle Digital Assistant-based chatbot technology to all of the SaaS services. So similarly, it's going to come into BI. Things that you would normally log into a portal and push some buttons or navigate through screens to get to a report. Now you may be in a position where you can ask the bot to give you some statistics or sales trends or number of open leads or open POs, those kinds of things. All of that is coming in the very near future. Website bots, these are already very prevalent, and there's a prediction that 63% of people will consider messaging as an online chatbot communicate rather than deal with the individual. And this is just a general change in, I would say, user behavior, where people are now more addicted to their mobile devices than ever before. They are more inclined to chat and text versus phone calls. So that's just the world we live in. Then replacing mobile apps. So rather than having an app on which you can do one or a few things, bots are now in a position to integrate data from multiple sources and replace a traditional app concept and take mobile app development, get customers away from traditional mobile app development and focus on interaction-based systems. Last one, the conversational user experience. You will see this acronym called CUI in multiple websites, conversational UI. And what that means is the traditional UI, UX design elements focus on screen, usability, responsiveness, and now the focus is shifting. So those are important elements, but the focus is shifting to once the user hits that screen, what is their experience and how do they communicate with the system? And that's what conversational UI is all about. So with AI coming into the picture, it has the potential to be a significant game changer, and Gartner's predicting that by 2021, a majority of enterprise IT organizations will be looking at that. Okay, so hopefully that was good from a context perspective on where the industry is heading. We thought it'd be helpful to give you in context what a standard chatbot deployment model looks like. This is not by any means the only way to do it, but this is what we think you can do with the applications that you have from Oracle on-prem or hosted or in the cloud. So on the left-hand side, you have PeopleSoft applications, Campus Solutions, ERP, which is FSCM, and HCM, and then other third-party systems that integrate with PeopleSoft. So most of you have some sort of reporting system or BI system, on-prem legacy systems that PeopleSoft may be talking to, on-prem packaged applications, and cloud services that you may be talking to. All of that falls into that left-hand category, right? So imagine applications that generate data, that have user interaction, all of that fit into the left-hand column. In the center, that honeycomb design that you see, that is a set of skills that chatbot can deliver to those users of those applications. So these skills can be combined and consolidated under one or more digital assistants, and then they can serve up these services either as individual bots or as a combined digital assistant that integrates multiple bots, multiple skills into one or more channels. And on the right-hand, far right, what you see are the channels through which these bots can be accessed. So Slack, Twilio, Facebook Messenger, a website, cell phone, and so on and so forth. So the skills are developed in a centralized location. The digital assistants can package those skills up. Your sources of information are where they are today, and they can move to cloud if you want them to move to, if you want to lift shift them to cloud infrastructure, for example, OCI. But the user interface for all of these bots can be multiple. So if you have a population of employees who are Facebook Messenger and there's a corporate channel, then you can push this bot out through Facebook Messenger, or you can use it through Slack, or you can integrate that into your website. Let's say you have an employee portal or a supplier portal, you can just use web channel integration and just provide the bot as a service through that format. So now let's talk about chatbots and PeopleSoft. So we've discussed how chatbots are growing, and there are predictions about how this can be a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's in the high hundreds of millions now in 2018 and 2019. And the prediction is in the next 5 years, it could be a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, and then you saw some of the use cases on ERP and so on, based on what analysts had to say. Now let's talk about chatbots and PeopleSoft and why chatbots could be very important in PeopleSoft. So first and foremost, chatbots can be very interactive. So you can now build very authentic and engaging user experiences in chatbot. And what we mean by that is you can have, starting from basic like hello, hi, howdy, hey, and making it colloquial if you wanted, making it very formal. You can start by making the chat experience very interactive and very engaging, and the chat can talk about non-transactional ERP things as well. So for example, if you want to start with the weather or the latest sports score or something like that, and then company news, and then dig into a ERP transaction, that can also be incorporated. The overall experience can be very, very engaging. Then the personalization comes in from the fact that these chatbots are intelligent enough to recognize who's asking the question and what the context of that question is, whether it is a transactional item from a PeopleSoft application, whether it's an FAQ item from a website, or whether it's some other third-party source of information that needs to be served up. It knows how to personalize the information and give it to you in return. It's an end-to-end solution, which means that if you think about something, some of you may have seen the Oracle PeopleSoft team talk about the absence bot in recent conferences. So let's just take that concept and think about an end-to-end experience. In today's world, in my home, I have a Google Home, I have Alexa. Now there's integration on my phone with a virtual assistant and so on and so forth. If I want to log an absence request, I want the bot to be intelligent enough to understand how many vacation days I have and then tell me whether I can take the amount of proposed absence that I want to take. And if it is approved, I wanted to notify me that it's been approved. If I'm a manager, maybe I wanted to delegate some of my tasks and put in an out-of-office reply when I'm gone. I wanted to update my calendar and sync many other third-party systems that are part of my day-to-day life. Bots these days are capable of doing all of that, which means they can be fully integrated into your systems and provide a true end-to-end solution, not just a point solution. And integration is a very key part of that. AI and ML is part of the underlying fabric of Oracle Digital Assistant, and integration services through Integration Cloud or Mobile Hub are also available to tie this to other systems. It's accessible from multiple platforms, which we spoke about in the previous slide. So PeopleSoft can now reside, or PeopleSoft content can be served up in a Facebook Messenger interface or a Twilio interface or a Slack interface, do it that way, not just the PeopleSoft traditional PIA interface. So here's some sample use cases. By all means, these are not the only things you can do in PeopleSoft. This is just what we had designed for today's presentation. And again, this was validated by some of the answers that you provided in response to the webinar registration, which I shared with the graph earlier on. So employee lookup, for example, org charts, direct, all of that can be done. Payroll self-service, view my paycheck, things like that. Leave management, we just spoke about that use case. Procurement, so there are several customers that we work with. Good example is one customer in healthcare. They submit thousands of requisitions every month, right? So for different items, parts, so on and so forth. And a lot of that can be automated through this bot, and it can be available anywhere. Think about the productivity boost that you could get if you had EPA, a voice-powered assistant like an Alexa, and you could just order Alexa to order certain parts you wanted for your hospital or something like that. Of course, with certain boundaries and restrictions and the appropriate security measures, but that's in the realm of the possible solution today. And then travel and expenses, a common request that we see from many, many customers, trending very nicely in terms of use. Time entry is another use case that we think is going to be very easy to implement and also very valuable, especially those of you who have a large number of people. And so let's just one of these examples and see what that looks like. This is a very high-level conceptual drawing. This is not a detailed architecture, or this is not going to talk about specific things that you would have to do in people tools or in ODA, but let's just on concepts first. So you have PeopleSoft eProcurement purchasing, you have third-party tools like marketplaces, Ariba, some of you are using Coupa and other cloud-based sourcing solutions, and then eSupplier portals or whatever else you may have, eSupplier connection. The bot can sit in front of all of these, connect to them securely, and manage transactions through standardized APIs and then serve up information to users on, for example, mobile interface. Have a question about an open PO, a requisition, whether it was approved or not, or wanting to submit a new requisition, look up a approval status, look up supplier information. All of these things can be easily handled by a bot. It's not to say that you cannot do these things in the traditional PeopleSoft interface today. The question is, can bots make it better and serve up things in a more consistent manner across a variety of interfaces outside of your PeopleSoft web-based interface? So here's a sample flow that we designed on Oracle Digital Assistant that shows you what a interaction with that procurement bot would look like. So we have a user that has identified himself to the bot. The bot says, how can I help you, Harold? And Harold says, I want to see all my pending requisitions. Now, if you notice, pending requisitions is really not a complete statement, and that is intentional because if I'm in a hurry, I just want to say that in a very brief way, but I still want the bot to understand that. And this is one of the biggest advantages you get with a bot compared to an online OLTP system like PeopleSoft in the user interface. You can actually say, here are all the different variations of the phrase, show me all my requisitions. And you can say pending recs, show me pending requisitions, all pending requisitions, and all of these variations get recorded, and the system knows how to interpret that question based on all those variations. And this is what we call utterances in bot technologies. Right? So now it has understood that, it has logged into PeopleSoft, it has identified that person and found certain requisitions that are pending, and it has displayed that information. Moving on from there, you can ask about open POs, and it'll do the same thing. What it's doing is it's making a call to PeopleSoft to a REST API, getting that information, and populating that in the bot. Now, you can also have links embedded into these responses. So if they want to look at the details of the approval or workflow, you can include a link or a URL, which when they click, will take them to the PeopleSoft application to perform an action. It can also, if you're a manager and you want looking at what's pending in your list, that link can be an approval link. You can actually process that through the API interface into PeopleSoft. Right, so supplier information. Just some examples. If you think about employee self-service, very commonly used in PeopleSoft now. Most of the customers that we talk to have implemented this in some shape or form in version 9.2, many of them in Fly. And it's great. It's a good solution out of the box in PeopleSoft 9.2. What it does not do today is it does not have a way of tracking and monitoring employee interaction through self-service. And what I mean by that is have self-service functionality for profile management, for paychecks, for benefits, and so on. But doing the same thing through a bot now gives you the ability to track and understand each and every interaction and also grade it or scale it. You can understand whether the interaction was successful, whether the user got all the information they wanted or not, and whether there's scope for improvement, right? So when you think about that in the chatbot, you compare that with a PeopleSoft application. Not that PeopleSoft's bad, it is an evolution or the next step up in user interaction, personalization, and so on. And on the left-hand side now, you can have employee self-service, plug in, employee FAQs, employee handbook information, self-service help desk information, a lot of other things that employees normally would interact with, company events, all of that kind of stuff that you want them to know and participate in. All of that can be served up through a common interface as an Oracle Digital Assistant powered by multiple skills in the chatbot. So sample flow again, you identify yourself using an Empl ID. It identifies and recognizes you. In this case, it knows Empl ID dot Kenneth, and Kenneth says, how many leaves do I have? What is my accrued vacation? And then what is my current address? So I'm checking some profile information that I would do, and what is my benefit summary, and so forth. So this is just an example. There are many features and functions that you can build into it. We are developing a very comprehensive list of APIs that you can plug into PeopleSoft HCM, financials, and supply chain and campus solutions, and you can decide skills you want to enable and how you want to grow from there. So now let's talk about Guru, our digital assistant for PeopleSoft education customers, and this is going to be a solution that you will see today as a live demo. Supriya is going to lead the demo. It is integrated into PeopleSoft Campus Solutions 9.2, and we'll actually do some live transactions by pulling in data based on what the student requests from the system. The goal here, and when we talk about education customers, if you go to conferences like Alliance, EDUCAUSE, the focus at the board level, at the chancellor level, is not so much PeopleSoft upgrade or tools upgrade or patching. It's about, can we grow enrollment year on year? Because there is greater and greater competition for the same pool of new students wanting to enroll and join universities. And a lot of these institutions are competing against each other to attract that talent and bring them to their campus, right? So in today's day and age, that means projecting yourself as a campus that's tech savvy, tech forward, and having these tools and technologies where students, not even once they enroll, but even before they enroll, during orientation, when they're checking out your campus, imagine if there was a bot that could serve up a lot of information that they'd be curious to find out about campus life, about, fraternities, about clubs, about research and funding, all of these things, about alumni networks. All of that can lead to a better student experience before they enroll and contribute to increased enrollment. So these are the things that bots can drive from a business benefit standpoint, and we can talk about that in a future conversation if you have that conversation. So here's some information that we found from another source that validates why bots are going to be important today and going forward in the education world specifically. So what kind of information are students seeking online, and that can be served up by bots. And you see on the right-hand side that wheel that gives you a breakup, information on admissions, general, academics, campus life, financial aid, so on and so forth. Common things that you would expect a student to know, and some of these things, or many of these things, are served up from PeopleSoft, but many are outside of PeopleSoft as well, like orientation, for example, general information about campus. So a bot can go beyond student self-service and integrate content and data from multiple sources, make that very relevant to the end user. So just some trends there. And then I'll hand it over to Supriya from here to talk to you about what the use cases are that we are focused on currently for Guru, the chatbot for PeopleSoft Campus, and what are some of the architectural elements, and then she'll lead us into the demo. Supriya?
Thank you. So today I'm going to talk about Guru, our student bot solution. And what you see here is that this Guru acts as a complete self-service solution for students, which means that it can not only integrate with the PeopleSoft Campus solutions, but also other non-RX solutions. Like, for example, if you're looking up information on the housing on the campus, management systems, so it can basically integrate, interact with other systems as well. And one of the examples that we had for that was Genentech, and here is a snapshot of how the conversation flow looks like Guru. So this is a sample flow where the student goes in and says hi or hello, and the bot greets with, hi, welcome to ODA, and enter the student ID. So once the student enters his ID, it asks for the student to enter the password as well. And once it is authenticated, it will identify the student and greet with the name. And the student can just go in and ask for information like, I want to see my grades, just my grades or grades, and it will give you options based on that. If you want to look at all the grades, or if you want to, look up grade by the subject, and you will be displayed with the options, and you can enter the subject ID and see your grades. So followed by that, I can also go and look at the class schedule, or if I also want to look up by the course, I can select the multiple options as well. And all of this that you're seeing here, I will demonstrate that to you. And I also want to highlight here that this solution is built using the Oracle Cloud Services, ODA, Oracle Digital Assistant, and Oracle Mobile Hub, and also using the PeopleSoft Campus solution, which is again hosted on OCI. And let's see how this actually works. So ODA is a platform that allows the enterprises to deploy a digital assistant, which also means the chatbot. And these are AI-driven solutions. So you can also integrate the artificial intelligence and machine learning into it. And this is going to, so say for example, if a student is asking a question, so which is not already deployed or included in the skills in ODA, this is also going to learn from that and add it to the library. Okay, so this is a sample of how the Guru is built. So this is built on ODA, and we have a fast growing list of skills that is being added every week to this. And it can integrate with multiple messaging channels. You can host it on your own campus portal, or you can integrate with ISA or Slack or Facebook Messenger, and likewise multiple channels. And Oracle Digital Assistant has the individual skills for each of this. Say, for example, if I'm integrating, if I have to get my information, I can have the skills that will get the information from the PeopleSoft application. And likewise, I can also have the skills that get information from the library system. So all of this will be hosted on ODA, and we will use Integration Cloud Services or the Oracle Mobile Hub to interact with the backend services and get you the information. And some of the capabilities or the features of ODA are it's AI-powered natural language processing. So say, for example, like in the snapshot, I could go and ask for something like my grades, or I can also just say grades, or I can also say show me my grades. So it will just look it up by the code, and it will keep adding it to the script. And it can also be integrated with a live agent handover. Say, for example, if a student or an employee is asking for some of the information which a bot do not have answers for, so it also has the ability to go and hand it over to somebody like a live agent. And it also has the ability to add any skill to any backend using the standard REST and SOAP. So the integration with any Oracle application and a non-Oracle application can be handled using the REST and the SOAP services. And the next thing is a bot can actually be trained to understand and predict by the end user request. And the bot, the ODA also has a dashboard where you can see the number of questions and the question patterns that has been asked over, like for example, in the last 8 days or a month or so. And also the bot has a capability deployed on multiple channels. So next we are going to the demo. Okay, it's not playing. Okay, so here I am explaining all the features that we actually spoke about in the student bot called Guru. I'm going to show you how it works. So the student logs in and says hi, and it will welcome the student and ask the student to enter the ID. And once the ID is entered, it is asking the student to enter the password as well. And once the ID and the password is entered, it is identifying the student and it is asking how it can help. But the student is entering, I would like to see my grades, and the options would be like, do you want to see all grades or do you just want to see the grades by the subject? So the student is selecting, I want to see the subject. So the bot is asking the student to enter the subject code and ID for the current term. So the student will enter the subject ID here, and the bot is going to interact with PeopleSoft and get the information. So as soon as the student ID is entered, it will go and look up grade for that student ID for that student, and it will show you here. And then it is asking, would you also like to see more grade information? And when you say yes, it will give you multiple options with different subjects. And when you click on details, it will open up another window and show you the details, your score. Now the student is actually going to ask for the class schedule. So here, if you observe, like in the first question, the student asked, I want to see my grades. And here is just asking class schedule. So it's not typing the entire. So even if you just enter certain keywords, it's going to look up by the keywords and give you the information. So here the student asks for the schedule. So it's displaying the schedule, and it is also asking what can I help you with. And when the student says, show me my class schedule, it is asking, do you want to see it by course? Student selects by course, it is displaying all the courses. And this is a feature that, if you actually want to go in and look into the details, it's taking you to the website. And when you click on register, it is doing the online registration itself and displaying the message that the registration has been done.
Thank you, Supriya. So as you all saw, this was a sample demonstration. We had a few skills that we wanted to show you and compress the demo for the webinar in the interest of time. But we can do a full featured demo for those of you who are interested in looking at what this product looks like. A couple of things I wanted to highlight in the demo, which you may have caught while you saw it, but it was playing in a window, so I don't know if it was very clear to all of you or not. The first thing is that the bot understands the user's context, as in it knows who the end user is, it authenticates and authorizes the user. So there's a secure mechanism to log in back into PeopleSoft system, authenticate the user. Only then does it retrieve user-specific information. The bot can, without authentication, provide generic information about term dates, courses available in a particular semester, so on and so forth, which professor or teacher, which course, in which year, and so on and so forth. So all that information can be served up. FAQ information about the campus, geographical information, location, maps, etc. All of that can be incorporated into this without the student having to log in. When the student requests information that is particular, specific for her, like grade or enrollment detail or tuition, then the system will prompt the user to log in, and it will maintain that context as long as the user is logged in. If you saw in the last piece, the course information was displayed. We also were able to integrate that to a one of our customers' university websites for whom we built this product, which means that at any point in time, if you feel that you've served up enough information from the bot and for additional details, you want the user now to go to an online website or, as Supriya mentioned, transfer to a live agent, all of those can be seamlessly incorporated in that transaction, and the user can continue that dialogue or that request process. So moving on, so how do you get started? Now that you've seen what use cases work or can be applied in PeopleSoft for chatbots, what the basic architecture looks like, Oracle Digital Assistant, and what a product demo looks like, how do you get started with PeopleSoft? So some of the tools and technologies that we recommend that we've been using as an Oracle partner that are foundational for you to build chatbots. So Oracle Digital Assistant is the most important one. Oracle Digital Assistant combined with Oracle Mobile Hub, solution set that you would need to start building your own skills or to consume pre-built skills like the ones that Astute is developing or Oracle may develop, for example. But all of those things are served up by this platform service, which is part of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Then if you think about connecting multiple sources and extending the bot solution to include different systems, then Integration Cloud is a good service to consider because it can securely authenticate and authorize users into those backend systems and that data forward in the bot. And then ERP applications, because we are talking about PeopleSoft, whatever those applications are that you may have, HCM, Financials, Campus, all three or some combination of those three depending on what industry you're in, whether those are running on-prem or OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, does not matter. That bot can securely speak to your applications wherever they are and serve up information. The recommended approach, at least to get started, would be to try and use plug-and-play solutions, like the ones that we are demonstrating today, the ones that we are building for procurement, supplier, requisition, employee, and so on. And the reason for this is simple. You get started with a plug-and-play solution, but it does not restrict you in the way you personalize it, customize it, and extend it or integrate that solution with other sources of information. But it saves you some time in getting the system up and running, in using it and quickly deploying it to your end user. So some of the solutions that we are working on, you saw some examples today, are student, employee, supplier, manager, and requisition. But we can build other solutions if you have specific use cases that you would like to bring to us. Pre-built skills, again, the advantage is think of it as you just buying something from an online library and saying, listen, I'm going to start using these, and this is my starting point, and then I want to build more and more as I go along. So not very different from how you would implement a vanilla self-service module in PeopleSoft, but then you may have a need to customize or enhance that or add more functionality. Same approach, but here it is truly plug and play, as in you load the skills, serve it up, and you connect it to a channel like a web interface or a mobile interface or a messenger interface, and it's ready to go. So you don't have to write any code, you don't have to build any of the skills yourselves. And if you buy some pre-built skills from us, for example, then we will be responsible for enhancing those, updating those, and giving you more versions as part of our product development strategy. And then try and leverage APIs as much as possible. Standardized APIs are best. Our focus is to build everything based on REST because it's a universally accepted standard, and you can call that service from anywhere, any bot really. Our preference is ODA, but once the APIs are available for PeopleSoft that we're developing, you can access them from multiple places. And then, as I mentioned in the beginning when I introduced Astute, our focus is to develop solutions so that customers have to go through the effort for building something on their own, rather they can consume a pre-built solution. And as and when we build these solutions, we are going to make these available on the OCI marketplace. So the student bot is going to be listed on the OCI marketplace very soon. There's going to be a press release that goes along with that. And we're going to be doing a series of webinars on that. And as we do more webinars on chatbots, we'll be releasing solutions for employee and procurement and so on as well. to some ways to jumpstart. So if you haven't done any work in yet on defining your business needs and use cases tied to those needs, we have many standardized use cases that we have already developed for HR, financials, and this. We'd be happy to bring those and get started, and then customize those use cases or extend those use cases depending on what your needs are. As far as choice of platform, we've chosen to build our chatbots and digital assistants and skills on ODA, but our IP can be portable, so we can work with an existing platform if you have one, or integrate to that platform. And then implementation services, within a matter of days, we can get the first bot up and running for customers. We've done this for a few already now. Some of the low-hanging fruit for many customers are like FAQs, for example. Those are easy to convert to bots. I'm not saying it'll happen overnight because there is some skill required in designing that. If you took an FAQ as it is with a 4 or 5 line answer for each question, stuck that in a bot, it would look ugly. So there is a method to that madness. Basically, what it means is we can take your FAQs and convert them into conversational UI flows and design that in a way that makes it an enhanced user experience. But the turnaround time for that is very fast. And then obviously, as we've been talking about in the entire presentation, use AI and ML-based services that are part of the underlying fabric of ODA to continue improving these services. So it's not a once and done type event. You can continue to monitor what the bot is doing, how it's performing, and continue to improve the interaction so that you get more and more benefits as you go. Just do a quick time check here. We're coming up on the top of the hour. I had given ourselves a few extra minutes on WebEx. So for those of you who would like to stay back, or if you have questions, let me just open up the chat window here. Let me start from the top. So if you have any questions, please post them. Question, where are the APIs hosted? So there are multiple sets of APIs when you think of the solution architecture that we displayed. So ODA and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure has its own set of APIs that are available as part of an OCI subscription. So you can tap into those as an OCI customer. The APIs that we develop for PeopleSoft will be something that Astute will package as part of its own IP, and we will make them available to customers either through the OCI marketplace or through some other source that we can give you that information on. Are there any metrics about time and number of clicks saved when a user is doing an inquiry through bot versus actually going to a page? A specific question to PeopleSoft. Brilliant question, and this is something that I touched upon earlier, which is all interactions in terms of time, the actual content of the interaction, the question asked, the response served, number of times a question was asked, from what sort of device or channel it was posed, etc. All of that is tracked on the ODA dashboard. So those metrics are going to help us and you better understand your users' needs and start curating that so that you can develop better responses via bots to those specific or to groups of users. What services do you use to connect to PeopleSoft? So we are currently using ODA and Oracle Mobile Hub and Oracle Integration Cloud to make those connections to PeopleSoft. There are going to be some announcements from the Oracle PeopleSoft in upcoming conferences about how Oracle's planning to develop these integrations, because they're working on, I believe, again, Oracle is for this, to check with Oracle on some native integrations into ODA, which is great because that will help us and help other ISVs who are building solutions like this better utilize bots for PeopleSoft. There are some links that are useful if you wanted to continue investigating bots for PeopleSoft, more about how you can get started. So links on our company homepage, our chatbot page, Oracle Digital Assistant, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, a press release that Oracle wrote for ODA for enterprise, and then contact information for Astute Business Solutions at the bottom, which you can make a note of and contact us either through email or phone or anytime website, beastute.com. Some more questions here. What's the best way to get user adoption to use chatbots? Interesting question. I think every customer that vary at a different in terms of their adoption, their understanding, and their use of this product. Some customers that we talk to are already using bots, but they are on the front end of the business, so the storefront and so on and so forth. They have not really considered applying this for enterprise applications. I think the best way to do this would be start small, start with a trial. If you're interested in doing a POC, contact Astute. We'll work with Oracle and conduct a quick POC, prove the solution, and try and use some build or plug-and-play solutions to get started. And there are some low-hanging fruit that you can use to prove that the solution works. It's a measurable solution in the sense that when you deploy it, you can understand what the advantages are and where the time and cost savings are. So those are great ways to get started. And then you can build on top of that when you get to build the first solution. As I mentioned, this is a complete integrated end-to-end solution. So it's not just about connecting the bot to PeopleSoft, but PeopleSoft and multiple. Next question was about FAQs. PeopleSoft delivered a new functionality a couple of months ago, which is going to cover the new questionnaire framework that enables you to quickly design and create questionnaires. So how will chatbots be different than that? I'm not familiar with this questionnaire framework that you're referring to, but I'll be happy to take that offline. And I would let the PeopleSoft team comment on this in future conferences or press releases or online events on what they are releasing. But one thing I do know is from a recent conference that I was at, where I spoke to the PeopleSoft team, the product strategy team, is that they are working on more deeper integrations with Oracle Digital Assistant for chatbots for PeopleSoft. So that's the platform or cloud infrastructure service that they are tapping into to develop chatbots and frameworks that customers can then adopt. So, but I would say please check with the PeopleSoft team and check with them. We are going to be at Reconnect next week in Chicago, annual PeopleSoft conference, and we are going to be at a booth, booth number 307. We'll have some live demos of our chatbot solution, also some live demos of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Cloud Manager, PeopleSoft automated deployments, and so on. A couple of sessions on cloud technology. So for those of you in the audience today who are going to be at Reconnect next week, feel free to stop by booth number 7 and speak there. For those of you who are not coming to Reconnect, please contact us on our website or through our email, info@beastute.com, and we'll be happy to have a deeper discussion with you about how you can start leveraging chatbots. Well, with that, we'll conclude. We are at the top of the hour. Thank you again for all of your participation and questions. We'll publish a link to the recording early next week, along with a FAQ from today's conversation for all of you to review and share with your colleagues. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day. Bye.